Okay, so I just called, the session today, ready, get, set, go. What does that mean? Anyone who wants to kind of, tell me, when do we use this ready, get, set, go? Quickly, any one person. And better to hear from the moms. कब बोलते हैं ready, get, set, go? Race, absolutely. So, all of us are just waiting over there. And then, there's a signal that is given, ready, get, set, go. Pace up, mom, when we have to start something. Absolutely. And at the signal go, we kind of, if it's a race, we start running. While the community is called Pace Up Mom, which means that, you want to speeden up the things that, we want to do with the community over here. I'm not saying it's a race, but there is the preparedness that is required, right? We would have to do some ample preparedness and then, get going with whatever we want to start, whether it's a race, whether it's, anything else. So that's why I thought, let me kind of call this session as ready, get, set, go. And I usually in my sessions, I do some storytelling. And I try and find stories from the outside world, not necessarily only mine, to kind of, narrate or prove the point that I'm trying to talk about. So we have 3 stories today. And Karina, you could go to the next slide. So these are stories of 3 women who've done something with cooking. And that's why I said that, for whatever strange reason, cooking seems to be the theme today. I really didn't think too much about it. I just Googled to say, okay, fine, what shall we talk about today? And these stories came up, so I put it in. So this is Sonal Choraria, and, you can Google and you will find about these people. So she says she found her passion accelerated with cooking and fine dining. Though from a young age, I had the knack of creating innovatively inspired dishes, keeping in mind the health quotient too. So today, all of us are such health freaks, right? And it is important for us to ensure that whatever we cook, while it is tasty and nutritious, it has to have the health quotient. Kitna proteins hai, carbohydrates hai, and calories and all of that. And especially if we have a particular ailment that we are dealing with, then we have to ensure that that is kind of taken care in the food. So she says that she used to keep the health quotient in mind, and from a young age, she used to innovatively cook up some dishes. So what she wanted to do was, she wanted others to know the benefits of whatever she had learned and how she had grown up. So her cooking journey came out in the open. So most of us do things at home. I'm an exception. I'm not doing anything in the kitchen, right? But most of us, we kind of say, okay, fine, for my family, let me try out something new. But she decided to go out in the open because she wanted others to know about this innovative and still healthy cooking. And that's how Cooking Mania with Top Chefs happened. So if you go in Google, you'll find a Facebook page also, about her. So what did she do? She got some close known people who now are the co-founders of this initiative called as Cooking Mania with Top Chefs. And it just started over a cup of coffee. I think she and her friends were talking about it, and they decided, let's start it. That is how this cooking story of what she was doing in her house, because it was her creativity, her interest, kind of today has a strength of 60,000 plus people, and it is still growing. And of course, it is aptly supported by my team and also the members of the group. So now the group members themselves are coming forward to kind of grow this community. So she sums up and she is saying, I may know lots. For someone like her who had started experimenting with cooking very early on and whatever age she is at today, there's a lot that she knows about cooking, right? I may know lots, but yet I know nothing, which gives me the push to learn everything. So this is her mantra. Even if you know quite a bit, if you keep in your mind that you don't know anything, it will propel you to kind of learn more and more and more. If we keep in our mind that I know everything, why should I learn more? I think we are, quite happy with, if we take cooking as an example, I know enough cooking. I can cook up about 10 different kinds of cuisines, global cuisine. Why should I do anything more? Then you kind of stop. But the minute you kind of, have a mindset which says that I know nothing or I know very little, it will push you to learn more. Let's go to the next slide and the next story, Terry. So this is Meghna Kamdar. So she was working until a day before she gave birth to her daughter in 2006. And suddenly unemployed because she had quit the job and single-handedly caring for an infant, because I think her husband was, of course, working and, quite a busy man, and she probably didn't have any support system. So no family who came to, help her out with the young baby, which usually we kind of, have help. She found herself in unfamiliar territory and she was overwhelmed by it. So she says, most women in my situation who have to quit their jobs and look after a child confined within four walls for long periods of time slip into depression. Exactly what would have happened to us the minute the lockdown happened, right? Suddenly we can't go out, nobody can come in, and we are just, cocooned in the four walls. I'm sure it became very depressing for many of us. That's what happened to me as well. And I was questioning my worth and desperately looking for a purpose, she said. And in her story, so again, if you Google, you'll get it. I'm not taking the whole story here, but in her story, she says that she was a lousy cook. But because the baby had come, she wanted to give the baby healthy food. She signed up for small cooking classes in the neighborhood. But because she had no family in town and her husband had a hectic job, she would take her baby along with her to the classes, sit at the back, and scribble notes while feeding and burping the little one. And she says for the past 20 years, maybe before the baby was born, she had lived someone else's dream, like most of us do. We have to get married, we have to have kids, we have to take care of in-laws, we have to cook, we have to clean, and किसी और का dream है. Our parents have told us, this is how you live a life. But she said, now, after 20 years, I wanted to kind of have my own. And so I asked my husband and family to give me that freedom. And we will talk about the rest of the story, but this is what has happened today. For someone who was a lousy cook, she started a Facebook page called Meghna's Kitchen, which eventually has led to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and she says Rocoso, and I don't know what that is. And she says, while her website now ranks in the top 50,000 in India. Now, can you imagine somebody who just wanted to learn some cooking to feed the young child has now got a website which ranks in the top 50,000 in our country? Her recipes have now started showing up among the top 10 to 20 search results. In fact, Sanjeev Kapoor, and we all know him, the chef, acknowledged her work on Twitter. So what is her mantra? She's saying that she started cooking and then she started catering for parties and events. She said, okay, so maybe it's probably small events, right? Her friends would have thrown a small birthday party and she would have catered. And then the constant positive feedback convinced her that she was onto something big. So she decided that she needs to do a little more. She took out money from her savings and she took support from her family, and she pursued a course at Sophia College. And to make myself marketable, she says, a course was not enough. So today we all know, and she's talking 2006, 2010, right? Today we know that you have to market, and to market you have online channels and all of that. But then she didn't know what marketing was. Now you can continue to cater for your family and friends, but if you really want to make it big to where she is now, which is like, coming up with a website and all of that, you have to actually learn marketing. So a course was not enough. It was also important to understand what people like to watch and how do you differentiate your work from others. Because today there are plenty of YouTube channels catering to, cooking. Those of us who have tried to do cooking, except for me, during the lockdown, would have gone to some YouTube channel and said, okay, how do I make this? And, we would have tried experimenting. So there is many. Why should someone only go to Meghna's or always, use Meghna's as the first point? Because you have to be able to differentiate your work from everybody else's. So the marketing side of your work becomes such an equally important aspect. And she realized that it's not only cooking that she has to learn, but also the marketing. And now the third and the last story. Next slide. Karina? Yeah. I'm sure some of you will be familiar with this picture. Those of us who have watched MasterChef some years ago. So she is Jyoti Arora, a homemaker from Amritsar. She has been a contestant on MasterChef India, but she isn't employed at any restaurant. So all she did was cook at home, correct? All her experience comes from the years she spent in her own kitchen. So she says, I'm a housewife. The only cooking career I have had has been on MasterChef India. She started cooking when she was 10. And 25 years ago, so whenever she's narrating this story, and that's when she probably got married, she said cooking was not a career. Like nobody thought cooking can be a career. You cook because you have to feed your family. And she again, of course, comes from an Orthodox family. She just got married after graduation. But look at what has happened. So she did come to MasterChef India. And now she says expanding her knowledge of cooking beyond the kitchen. And taking her role as a noted culinary expert. So what did MasterChef make her realize? That she's not just a cook she's not someone who has to cook only for her family. She's actually an expert, because the people who kind of reach the MasterChef level are experts, right? So she took that title very seriously and she wanted to write a book. Of course, here I have picked it up from some time when she's saying her maiden book, which means her first book, and she has written many after that. So here is what she says. There was a time when I had thoughts about abandoning the project midway because it required a lot of effort and a lot of patience. But I eventually completed my journey. And now, she is busy honing and looking for more culinary talent through her Rasoi show. Okay. So the reason I thought I would narrate these stories, and I don't know why I picked up cooking, maybe because I Googled and I was Googling for moms who've kind of, come out from the cocoon and have done something big. And maybe the first thing that it threw out is cooking, which is what most of us, end up doing at home. I thought, let me start with these stories. Can we go to the, next slide? Yeah. So when do you learn? Keep it. I will tell you when to move, Karina. Okay. So if anyone can tell me, when do we actually learn? Anyone? Quickly.
When we need to.
When we need to. Right? So unless and until there is a need, like Neeraja Ganesh, I had a need to step into the kitchen and make some food for my family. And so I sat and, learned a little bit of cooking in 2020. So when you have a need, you will learn. Any other, there was somebody who said when you make a mistake, is it? I missed that chat. When we make mistakes, that's right. So if we have done something and we make a mistake, then either it will propel us to learn, because, we don't want, if I had cooked and it would have been horrible taste, then, it forces me to learn how to make it better. Correct? The other thing could be I can give up. Oh, ye mujhse nahi hoga, and I can just keep it, I'm saying I'm not going to do any more of it. But such a situation cannot be dealt with in the lockdown, because if I say I can't cook, then who will cook? Right? So I will be forced to learn. When else do we learn? Never give up. Yes, Sumitra, of course. There is no age to learn, definitely. Right? So let's go to the, bring up the box, next box, Karina. And one more point under that. Yes. Yeah. So there has to be a motivation for us to learn. Okay, that's the main thing. These are, when we make mistakes, yes, we learn. When there is a need, we learn. But if you really look at learning, if you think of the kids that go to school, they're just jumped into school because we believe that is the way, all the kids have to learn. But there are some kids who love school, and some kids who love a particular, subject, while, some other kids who will hate school and who will hate those subjects, right? So if you look at why a particular child is liking something and learning something, and it kind of also, is universal, not only for a child, but for anybody at any age, there has to be a particular motivation that has to drive us to learn. Can you just bring up the next point, Karina? So if you look at Meghna's story, No, just keep it there. Just keep it there. Um, I will tell you when to move, Karina. Okay. So if you look at the Meghna story, her motivation to go and learn cooking was healthy food for the baby. Otherwise, I think if she had not had a baby at that point in time, she might have just continued life as is, correct? So each of us needs to have a particular motivation which will drive us to learn something new. The next thing is the mindset that we all need to have. The mindset has to be a mindset of curiosity. Now, I will give my example first of Instagram. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. But I don't use any of these channels for my personal purposes, right? It's there because professionally, I know, like you heard from the other person's story, that there's no other way to attract a market other than going onto social media today. And you have different kinds of people on different social media. Some of you are on Facebook, some on Insta, so I have to be on all the channels. And hence, I have an Instagram account. But for whatever reason, I have not bothered to learn how to use Instagram. So my daughter does it for me. So those of you who will follow me on Insta, maybe after this session, it is all my daughter who is doing it for me. And yesterday also, I told her, put up the Pace Up Mom thing there. And she said, why can't you learn and do this, Mom? So my mindset is like, why should I? Somebody is doing it for me, because at the end of the day, it is just one post that has to go out to promote something. And if somebody is doing it, let them know, why should I? So I'm happy with that. Similarly, if you look at the cooking story of mine, why I have not really, taken the plunge is because my mindset is I don't want to do it for whatever reason. There is probably some history for all of us. If we have a mindset, an aversion, or not wanting to do something, there is a particular history. Don't go move ahead yet, Karina. There's a particular history because of which a mindset is like that. But if you are not curious, you don't have a curiosity mindset, you will not be able to learn and move ahead. Okay. Yeah. Let's move to the third point. Just bring the picture. That's enough. Yeah. What does this picture say? I'm a woman on a mission to. Bring the next point, Karina. Inspiration. All of us need inspiration to learn. Correct? So if you look at Sonal's story, she said, go to the next point, Karina, that others should benefit. She is saying that I, of course, benefited. I used to be very innovative with my dishes because I also brought in the health aspect. I thought, let others also benefit. That was her inspiration to start the, initiative that she started. Whatever it's called, the Chef's Wala, where she brought a few other chefs, and together she's launched a community which is 60,000 today. So the inspiration for her was others should benefit. So there has to be a driving inspiration behind. So motivation and inspiration are two different things, right? Motivation is intrinsic. Inspiration could be external, that I take inspiration from someone else, correct? Very similar, but there is, still a distinction. So there has to be something that will inspire us to do, and hence we learn. Can we move to the next one? Yeah, bring in the, point. Yes. This is a very, very, very important point. Are we challenging ourselves? So we all are at some, place today, personally, professionally, wherever, correct? Are we challenging ourselves to go beyond that? For example, when Seema said that, I sat down with my kids and I watched Netflix and, shows that teenagers are looking at. If she said that, no, I don't want to see what they are seeing, we are not challenging ourselves, right? So if you look at can you bring the next point? That example of, I think it was Meghna who said Facebook was not good enough. So she went on to Facebook. She has a Facebook page, but she felt that marketing through Facebook was not good enough. She had already achieved something, but she felt it was not good enough. So she is challenging herself. And hence she started looking at other ways of marketing, and hence went to other kinds of social media. So let me give you, a story from my mom. So she's 73, okay? And a few years ago, maybe, 8 years ago, I went to Paris. And that's when I bought her before I left for Paris, I bought her a smartphone. And I bought her a Windows phone. And my daughter, I left her with my mother. And kids these days, will learn everything. You don't even have to teach them. So she kind of knew how to operate the smartphone. So I told her that, you will kind of, help your grandmom whenever she wants to talk to me and things like that. Get her used to WhatsApp and all of that. When I came back, I saw that my mother had made a small book, which was actually every instruction that my daughter had given to her in terms of how to use the WhatsApp. Now, if you look at the book, you may laugh at it. But for my mother, it was very, very important because she knew that, in some days, my daughter will come back to me after I come back from Paris, and then who's going to kind of help her? So she made notes of every small thing, how to go into WhatsApp and then how to search. And in her own language, she herself has written those notes. And if you see, the Windows phone is a little different from Android and it will be different from an iPhone. So this was very specific to, the Windows kind of a thing. So search ke liye kya karna hai? She would have written, look for the 3 dots and then go to those 3 dots and click on that. And then you will find these options. If you have to forward something, click. So, my mother made herself, she challenged herself. She said, I am going to be independent. And my mother is an extremely independent person, right? So my father passed away in 2006. I'm an only child. So those of you who are in Bangalore will know. So my mother lives in Jayanagar. And I had gotten married and I used to live in a place called Alsur, 10 kilometers away from her. She refused to move from Jayanagar when my father passed away. She said, this is where I'm going to live. And 3 years ago, my father-in-law passed away. That is when we took the decision that my husband is the only son. We decided to consolidate. And so we shifted to Jayanagar where my mother lives. We built the first floor and we kind of, moved here. The first thing she told me when we were moving is, you will not stop me from going out and buying my groceries and buying my vegetables. I will do my own stuff. I said, "Theek hai, Baba. You do for yourself and do for me also. I'll be only too happy." Okay. But that's the kind of a person she is. At 73, she doesn't have a maid servant at home. The only person who didn't get shaken up with the lockdown because of not having maids is her. All through her life, no maid. Okay. And she doesn't even have a washing machine. She'll wash her clothes, her curtains, her bed sheets herself on the stone. She will cook and she experiments cooking. She has a huge, beautiful garden that she tends to herself, no gardener and all of that. Okay. So that's the kind of a person she is. So what happened was one day so all she was using the smartphone was for WhatsApp, our family group. And then one friend she has and maybe another, group. That's it. So that's all, life was with the smartphone. One day I saw her on YouTube and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" She said that, someone had sent a YouTube link on the group. Maybe, it was something to do with maybe cooking or something, some recipe. And she saw that if she clicked on that link, after that particular video that would play, it automatically would go to another video. And she found that extremely interesting. And, every day, but she didn't know how to go on its own, right? She knew that she had to click on this link, watch that one video, and then it will take you to different videos. Every day she was doing that, right? I found it so amazing. I said, we thought that all she needs to use the smartphone was for WhatsApp. But look at her, she herself figured out something else to do with it. Then we told her how she can go, to YouTube outside of WhatsApp, how you can search for things and all of that. And recently we got her TV, converted to smart TV. And, she was learning how to give the voice commands to the TV and all of that. So, constantly challenging herself. And what does she watch on YouTube? She will watch gardening tips because I told you she has a huge gardening tips. And then she'll come and tell me that I want this particular thing, place an order on Amazon or wherever, but I want this because if you put this for the plants, it will grow better. And I say, you already have such a beautiful garden, but it is not good enough for her. She will watch, how to maintain the house kind of tips. As I said, no maid, she kind of, and you should come and see the house. It's spick and span any time of the day or night and so beautifully organized. So she's looking at home organizing tips. And she's also a very, mindful person. She'll not go and buy But from that, she'll get ideas. Like she watched something on Amazon, which was talking about some nice stands to, corner stand and all of that. With all the stuff that she already has at home, she, made one corner stand for her kitchen because it gave her an idea. So she's constantly challenging herself and doing more. When you do that, that is when you learn. And let's come to the last point, Karina. What is that? Anyone? What is that picture? Anyone who can identify with that picture?
It's a dream catcher.
Yes, absolutely. It's a dream catcher. So go to the next point. One of the other reasons that we learn is there is a reward at the end of the day. And let me tell you, people, don't keep looking for an external reward. External rewards may come, but the rewards that you get from within when you follow your dreams is unimaginable. Okay. So let me tell you about myself. I grew up in a, of course, a South Indian Tambram family. I'm an only child. Very conservative setup is where I grew up. I grew up as a very meek, timid, shy girl. And I continued like that even after I started working for many, many years. I wouldn't even say hi to a person who's sitting next to me. Okay. That is how I was. But I used to, have this dream whenever I would sit in the, in a class, or I would sit in a conference, or they would send us for training programs, and you will have speakers like I'm doing now in front of you. And the way they would speak, I would kind of feel, oh, can I, I also want to stand there and speak one day. So follow your dreams. Of course, it's a totally different story in terms of how I changed and transformed myself. And a little bit of that is in the podcast, which I sent to Karina yesterday. You can share it in the group if they are interested. But follow your dreams. I'm sure each of you must have had some dream as you were growing up and today. Okay. Please follow those dreams. And Pace Up Mom is bringing this initiative, is bringing this community together because they want you all to follow your dreams and achieve your potential. Do not wait for a particular reason to happen for you to, go and learn. That then we will anyway learn, correct? Again, going back to my mom, and I always tell examples about my mom because I think she's much better than I am. For example, she's so financially savvy. She manages her investments by herself. I don't do that. So my husband is in the field of, managing financial portfolios for clients. So, he kind of manages my finances also. But my mother has always been managing her investments throughout, even when my father was alive. Of course, because my father gave her, that opportunity. He said, you want to take care of it, you take care of it, because he trusted her to do a very good job of it. So even today, while my husband will advise her to say, I think you should invest here, she will not take it at face value. She will come and say, but I have come across another scheme. Why not that scheme? And my husband will have to really give a rational reason to say, this is better than that, or, that this is why we have to do. So please follow your dreams. Don't reach a stage where there is a need and then you have to, learn something new. I think all of us have to be always savvy. And today there is no way out but to become digitally savvy, technologically savvy. Okay. Whether COVID had happened or not, life would have definitely changed in some time to become that technologically savvy. COVID has just hastened it. Okay. So I think you have a brilliant opportunity here with Pace Up Moms to kind of learn everything from the small things. Some of us struggle with Insta like me. Some may not know how to book an Ola. Some may not know how to order from Swiggy. And from there, they're going to take you to, larger and higher heights where you can possibly become like a Jyoti or, someone running your own businesses. It is not to earn money. That is one aspect. Of course, we all need to be financially independent, but it is to ensure that you have that feel-good factor that I'm also capable of doing something and become a role model for, of course, your kids and for others, right? Your kids are looking up to you on many, many aspects. Like I say, I may have achieved whatever professionally, but today I think my mother still continues to be a role model because my mindset is not that open as my mother's in terms of learning, in terms of curiosity, in terms of, trying out new things. So you will always be a role model for your children. So you just are going to, go higher in their eyes with all new things that you're going to learn and then start using it. For all you know, you might, your names might come, or if I Google next time, and it will be your stories that, we will be talking about. So the only thing that I want to say is you have taken the first step to become part of this community. I will give you a thumbs up on that because many of us don't even do that. We say, okay, what is it? Let me keep myself away from it. You become a part of that WhatsApp group, or you have found these, promotional messages on Instagram or LinkedIn or, on WhatsApp, and hence you've come to attend my, talk today. But take the next step. Whatever they kind of bring to you, have the openness, have a mindset of curiosity. Drive yourself, find some internal and external inspiration to kind of pick up those new things and continuously challenge yourself. This is not good enough. What else can I do with it? Can I take it to the next level? Right? WhatsApp started as a personal chat and today it's become a business account. Everything starts like that and, it kind of, becomes high. So I would really, really urge all of you to attend every session that, PaySup Moms brings to you and learn and start using it and challenge yourself to get better. You don't have to kind of compare yourself with anybody else. You are your own competitor. So today, if you are here, see how you can get better than that tomorrow and, keep growing. So that was the only thing that I wanted to leave you with. And the reason I thought I will tell you when do you learn, because this is a community of learning. I want you all to know you will learn only when you have one or all of these aspects. And I want you to bring in these aspects. Some will be dormant. They are there. I'm sure there is a dream at the back of your mind, something, which you've kind of put aside saying that ab kya karna hai iska. But karna hai. You have to. I have to, you have to, each of us has to. And if these students are doing this, it is and it's a not-for-profit, right? They are not asking you to pay. Why are they doing it? Because they realize what a huge potential all of you have. And they want each of you to, utilize that potential. So my sincere urge is, please make the best use of it. Attend every session and start acting on whatever learnings you get from there. Thank you. And you can always, connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm very, very, frequent on LinkedIn, but I'm not sure how many of you are on LinkedIn. But yeah, these two platforms for sure. I'm guessing most of you will be. Do connect with me and I'm happy to chat up with you more.